Well, yesterday you talked a little bit about getting beyond sort of this immediate stream of information and letting people sort of dive in and discover more, right?
Yeah.
So there's this whole issue, right, with we're seeing information being uh, delivered in streams
Right.
a lot more. Twitter is the most extreme, one of the most extreme examples of that. How do you? So the big question is, how do you let people manage that stream of information, and how do you let people discover things that are interesting to them that didn't happen right now? Is that something that's interesting to you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that real time is a hugely interesting new kind of field of endeavor that we're getting into. But at the same time, you want to, I forget who I was talking to. I was talking to somebody about like real time. Let's make everything real time. Like how many images, how many videos are being uploaded to YouTube right now? Like, do you necessarily want everything just because it's brand new on YouTube? No, because a lot of it's going to be bad, right? So you want to introduce a layer of filter of, okay, I do like stuff in real time, but also not this stuff. You know what I mean? So I think that's interesting. I think, real time is great. Filtering it and making it more relevant is important. We haven't got there yet. And then, I follow, I don't know, like 200 people or something like that. And I really don't go in and actively unfollow or follow new people as much as I should. I wish Twitter would say to me, hey, you're missing out. Here's some things you might want to look at, or either follow or just check out.
But based on what, there's so little information in each message to make that determination.
Yeah, but there's like for example, if even something simple like if I could more easily look through the accounts that Ev follows. I mean, I bet you Ev's a smart guy. He's probably gone through the trouble of finding some good accounts to follow. If I took the time to actually look and compare what does he follow that I don't, I bet you I could find a few great accounts in there that I'd learn something from, Or if he could send them over my way or something, I mean, I think there's so many opportunities of kind of reshuffling a lot of this stuff and saying, hey, you're missing out. Hey, I'm following this. You should follow this. And, sharing a lot more of that between people, I think. I don't know what that is exactly. I'm kind of making it up as I'm talking to you now. But the idea is to churn up some more discovery and get more, learn more, get smarter,
Right.
Do more with Twitter.
The last question is, we've seen users come up with their own mechanisms for marking different messages, the whole idea of the reply, putting an at symbol in front of a name, or retweeting, or these hashtags. And a lot of these sort of micro syntax, right, is appeals to a very limited number of people, and it's not as accessible to probably the vast majority of mainstream users.
Right.
And to a certain extent, when something becomes popular, you make it part of Twitter. How much of that can you do? I mean, is that something that you're actively looking at? Are you going to be making sort of retweet something that's a feature, or any of these other?
Yeah, I mean, we look at all these things as potential features for sure. If people are doing them, then we want to look at why and what they're trying to do. In some cases, like the at replies, that happened early on, and we just went for it, and we just immediately made it into a feature, and then we refined it as we went along. In other cases, we look at what they're doing, and then we have to ask ourselves, should we just immediately make a feature out of what they're doing, or should we think about it a little bit more and say, okay, maybe they're only doing this because they're working around something, and is there something even better that we could offer that does the same thing, right? But the answer is yes. I mean, we look at this emergent behavior and we say, is there a feature here that we can put out?
So, what's the next feature that you see a lot of people, that you're seriously considering?
I think both the hashtags and the retweets are very worthwhile projects that we could do, that we could work on. And I don't know if we're going to do them exactly the way people are doing them or not, but I think those are two that have they've been growing. I mean, the number of these things has been going up, so people want them. And I think like hashtags is kind of like a way of workaround around events almost. So what is that? Is that an events feature? When you do pound all things D. Do you really wish you could just say, I'm at an event, who's with me? I don't know. But, we have to look at it, and we have to spend some time with it, and spend some time with people asking them, what are you trying to do?
Well, it's just tagging the
But it's the thing about them is they mostly seem to be, these hashtags seem to be happening It's usually an event, and by an event I mean it can be a big event like All Things D or South by Southwest, but it can also be a TV show, or a spontaneous game that people have done. This started on a Monday. You know, I mean,
Right.
I think of those still as events. Some events are permanent. Other events kind of evaporate after a certain amount of time.
Would you ever consider allowing people to add metadata to a tweet that isn't contained in the message? So if I could add a tag to a message so that people could search for it later, but it doesn't necessarily have to be part of the message
Right.
itself.
I think we're open to considering anything. I mean, I think one of the key things we need to do is leave a lot open for the future, and I think adding meta information is very interesting. Certainly, like location is one of those big, interesting things that we would want to let people add to their tweets. And yeah, sure, there's going to be other stuff. I don't know what it is right now, but I would say the answer to that is yes. We would allow people to add more metadata and then have that available in the API so people could build cool stuff. I don't know for sure if we're going to allow people to like write tags and things like that, but something.
And final question, you guys changed the @replies feature so that you're getting not just people who are replying to you, but people who are mentioning you as well.
Right.
I hate that.
You don't like that.
Well,
You're not a fan.
because I want to see people who are publicly replying to me, not just people who are retweeting my
Yeah.
messages.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of people following you on Twitter?
About 5,000.
That's a lot. I mean, and so what happens? You know, something like 50% of people have 10 followers, right? So they don't get as many. But you're right. I think we added that in because people were saying we're missing. You know, I did a search and I'm missing all these people are talking about me and I'm missing them all.
Right.
So we put it in, and then there's a few people that say, well, I don't like it because it's too much. There's retweets and things like that. So
Why not make it an option?
I think we need to either make it an option or take the third step, which is to try to make it good for both cases.
Right. You could do mentions and @replies.
Yeah, something. I mean, there's always there's always a way to improve anything on there. That's for sure.
Okay. Well, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.